Greetings, fiends. Hey, it's Sunday. Fall has finally fucking gotten here. Along with it, it's about as wet as Courtney Love at a Smashing Pumpkins Nirvana concert. But fall is finally here. The heat broke. Cross my fingers it stays that way. And what? Let's have a fun little conversation, shall we? Um, so, if you were to describe the horror rock scene in 5 movies, what would it be? Just think about that for a second. Go ahead, pause. Just think about it. Because it's going to be a little different for everybody. And the question just popped into my head, and I thought it would be kind of neat to just bust some of my flicks out. And one thing that I really feel that separates the horror punk, horror rock scene, spook rock scene from everything else is we're very film based. I mean, on top, like, we could add that on to all the what is a horror punk, what is the horror punk scene. We're most of us are film buffs. I mean, everybody from Goolsby down the line, pretty much every band fucking ever, everyone are horror movie and sci-fi movie nuts. We're all super horror fans and super, like, we love film in general. Maybe, like, it definitely goes outside of those genres, but we like film. And you could definitely say that it like, music is definitely an influence, obviously. But film is equally as much of an influence on this scene. I mean, I've been a freaking movie nut my whole life. Everyone I met in this scene loves film. So let's take a look at my 5 picks for how to describe the horror rock scene. And we're going to start this one off with a bang because you can't talk about the horror rock scene without not talking about this movie. Return of the Living Dead. So, anybody that came out of the Mr. Monster camp, yeah, it was all about this fucking movie. Punks in a graveyard in a zombie scenario, yeah, like, this movie wasn't destined to be ours. In fact, I think on the commentary on at least one of these films, Jason and JV are in the commentary. I'm fairly certain. But you just can't talk about our scene without talking about Return of the Living Dead. Honestly, I don't even know how to fucking review a film properly, but the film kicks ass. I mean, it's the effects are good enough to be extremely, like, gross and do what a horror film is supposed to do, but they're B-movie enough to just be really enjoyable. But just so many things harken back to this movie. Like I said, like punk rockers, cemeteries, zombies, like holy shit scenarios, really killer soundtrack. Just the atmosphere of the movie is fucking badass. Darrow Chemical Company, I'm 90% sure is named after something from this film. Of course, JV being the Mr. Monster. They used the Tar Man from this movie in their logos. So many, like, I guarantee, like, at least a third of the people out there probably have tattoos from this movie. You know? So, The Return of the Living Dead, killer fucking flick. Another biggie that definitely brings us together, Clive Barker. A name in horror. One of the top names in horror. So, we're talking about Nightbreed. Great movie. These are all great. I mean, I'm just going to sound like a fucking broken record talking about that. But Nightbreed is really fucking good. The book is even better if you've read that. Cabal. Really fucking good. Sometimes Clive Barker did really great movies, but his writing is really good too. I almost think Hellbound Heart, which is the book that Hellraiser was based off of, is almost better than the movie. And the movie's great. But yeah, Nightbreed. So you got a guy in a leather jacket. His name's Boone. You know, he kind of looks that early 2000s horror punk kind of vibe, which that to me, at least me personally, like I said, this list is very personalized. He kind of embodied that, you know, that look, that kind of greaser-esque look, heading out to a cemetery where there's just like a tribe of moon children, moon monsters, that live under it in a place called Midian. And you can see stuff from this movie and the lore behind it throughout music in general. But this film definitely has influenced our scene quite a bit. From the camaraderie of the Children of the Night, the Children of the Moon, you know, to the way Boone dresses, and, you know, Boone becoming one of them, one of the Nightbreed, and trying to find his way to Midian. Fucking great flick, and definitely one that marks the list. This one is definitely a no-brainer. I mean, have you, like, vampires, rockers, yeah, you know where I'm going with this. The Lost Boys. Every Goolsby, Calabrese, down the line, fucking, a lot of us have tried to emulate the looks from the gang in this, Michael's gang. Seriously, Kiefer Sutherland is like one of the coolest looking vampires that has ever hit celluloid. Fucking amazing. So, if you haven't seen the movie, which I can't imagine you not seeing it, pardon me, it's not Michael. What the hell is Kiefer Sutherland's character's name in that movie? Oh my god. I'm spacing. Michael's the main character who... Whatever. Michael. He and his brother, played by Corey Haim, moved to Santa Carla, California. After their parents have a really bad divorce and mom's moving back in with her dad, so they're living with their granddad, who's easily one of the coolest granddads ever. The guy's into taxidermy. And, you know, Michael goes out to the beach, and there's like this big party. That fucking sax player, that's been influential in this scene. Fuck, everybody loves that shit. But he meets up with a girl. That girl happens to be part of a vampire gang, but he doesn't know that yet. And then he's taken in. And the gang wants to turn Michael into a vampire, which they mostly succeed, but he never feeds off of a human and gets finally turned back. Well, spoiler if you haven't fucking seen a 35-year-old fucking movie. Yeah. So, you know, shenanigans ensue. The Frog Brothers, vampire killers. It's fucking... This movie kicks ass. It has influenced a whole shit ton of the scene. But yeah, The Lost Boys. Fucking great. And now this one is not so much a movie as it is a TV show, but there were movies, and there was also a comic book. Yeah. Yeah, if you have to guess this one. Come on, you know what it is. You know what it is. Huh? That's right. Tales from the Crypt. Crypt Keeper. I love a good anthology show. I almost like anthology shows more than I like movies, because you get a tighter story in a small amount of time. Sometimes it's maybe not the greatest episode, but other times that episode will just knock your socks off. I mean, everything from Tales from the Dark Side, Tales from the Crypt. Let's see, what else do I have over there? Ray Bradbury Theater. So on and so forth. There's a lot of really good anthology shows. Of course, The Outer Limits. There's a lot of good anthology shows. And Black Mirror being one of the newer ones, purely sci-fi based, but a lot of it's fairly terrifying in a science fiction kind of backdrop. But damn, Tales from the Crypt. The Crypt Keeper has definitely had an influence. Everything from the way he talks, the laugh, the delightfully spooky fun of the whole thing. That fucking intro, it brings fun and the macabre into everything. There are 7 seasons of this. Every one is so worth it. They go from the extremely serious horror kind of drama down to the like goofy fun. God, episodes that come to mind are the episode where a guy gets instilled with like a cat heart and it gives him 7 lives. And he works in a carnival and he's a stage magician, so he does these death-defying acts where he comes back from the dead. And eventually, the whole thing opens up with him buried in a casket. He realizes he's out of lives, and he ends up being buried alive. It's slick as hell. And there's also an episode, a really, really fun episode about a comic creator who, whatever that comic creator draws comes to life, and the comic creator loves drawing monsters. So this comic creator is responsible for bringing all these monsters to life, and eventually he draws, if I remember right, something like his ex, but in a horrific manner, and she comes and just like eviscerates him. It's fantastic. So yeah, Tales from the Crypt. I would almost say that the 2 Tales from the Crypt movies, Demon Knight, and I don't remember the other one. It's got Corey Feldman in it. He's a vampire, a punk rock vampire. Either way, Tales from the Crypt, very, very influential on the scene as a whole. A lot of fun too. And my number 5. This is undeniable. Now, I don't have any werewolf movies on here, and werewolves have definitely been influential, but I think just to peek over that is even more influential on the scene. And if I had to pick another movie, which I am picking another movie, to round this out into influence on the scene, Bela Lugosi's Dracula 31. Yeah. These movies have been sampled on so many fucking songs, on so many albums. There have been so many tunes written about Dracula. Probably just as many as werewolves. And I really have 2 honorable mentions, and that's American Werewolf in London, and, well, I had thought of a second one. Probably the Friday the 13th movies, because the Jasons have just made that right in your face now. But Dracula, above all, has not just influenced the horror scene, this influenced horror in general. It hit so hard, it gave the whole genre more purpose and realized that people would be into it more. You know, after this, it just slew. You had your Frankensteins, your werewolves, Mummy, Invisible Man, all the classic Universal films, so good. But the first Dracula, I mean, the atmosphere, the lines in it, super influential. And this is a sweet legacy. This is the Green Box Legacy Collections, which I'm sure a lot of you have seen. And this has got Dracula's Daughter, Son of Dracula, House of Dracula, and a whole bunch of other cool stuff, documentaries and stuff like that. Really neat stuff. But yeah, I would say that this is definitely a big influence. Oh, I remember what the for some reason, zombies have always been Night of the Living Dead. I got to give a shout out to Night of the Living Dead. That's huge. I should have probably made this a top 10 list, 10 influential. But these 5 definitely, to me, were like are in my neck of the woods, in my little area, were the big influences that I have seen. I want to know what you've seen. What are the 5 influences that have influenced you? Maybe your general little scene there, where you're at. Like, subscribe, leave comments. Tell me in the comments what movies, influenced you the most. Stay dry. Welcome to fall. I will see you next time on the Midnight Chamber.